turn.
Coca-Cola Oreos.
You ready? Do it?
Coca-Cola flavored
Yeah.
Oreos. We're gonna try it.
At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Ooh,
Ooh,
sorry.
Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Sunshine Law. Notice of time, date, and place have been furnished to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News in the Administrative Building. Clerk, would you please call the roll? Time will be changing.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to continue the meeting. I want to thank everyone who is here, that you had to wait, but sometimes we have to do things for with the governing body that's kind of important to do. On the reports, my report first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Waldeck High School boys soccer team on winning another championship. We sent a congratulations letter to them on Facebook, and on Monday, when the administrator came in, we have decided that we already have a sign outside when you're coming into Waldeck from 17 North that says 2022, I think it is, champs. We're going to take that sign down in there 2024 to honor them for their warriorism to our community. Also, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And as the holidays are approaching, let us try to do the best we could to help others if they're in need. If you know anybody that's in need, please let us know. There's a lot of residents that come forward and ask about donating food or money. And it's very private, no one knows about it, but we will be more than happy to give you a number of someone to speak to, and you could deal with them with that. Under my report, that's it. Financial and Administrative Committee, Mr. Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'll keep it short. In the interest of time, you'll see a resolution this evening where we're transferring funds from essentially one account to another. It's end of year, and we have some line items that are kind of drawn down too low and others that have excess. So we'll be transferring $58,000 within our current fund from, fire prevention, tax assessor, natural gas, oil, things like that, into general liability insurance and fire prevention salaries and wages. And on our water utility, it's $650 moving from our operating to some statutory expenditures, our pension fund. So that's what that resolution is. In the interest of time, I'll keep it short. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Fire and Police Protection Committee, Mr. Brennick.
Mr. Mayor, my report can wait until next week. I have no report tonight.
Thank you very much. Public Safety Committee, Ms. Iracola.
Thank you. The Ambulance Corps has 39 calls month to date. Standbys were completed for the football and junior football fall seasons, and they look forward to doing that again next year. Standby mutual aid support for Ramsey VAC at Don Bosco Prep football game was held on 11/20. There was one mutual aid call into Hawthorne. Walvac also looks forward to attending the tree lighting on December 6th. Their slate of 2025 officer elections are President Lucas Nestoros, Vice President Adrian Kamayagua, Treasurer Francesco Palladino, Recording Secretary Ellen Hillman, Corresponding Secretary Madeline Benitez, Captain Adrian Damadarski, First Lieutenant Morgan Hoffman, and Second Lieutenant Ashley Statuto. For the Waldeck Access for All Committee, I'm looking forward to attending their next meeting scheduled for Monday, December 9th. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation and Health Committee, Mr. Martinello.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few items tonight. First, fall sports have wrapped up in town, all the football and soccer programs. I think the soccer program also had 15U girls won the championship in their league this weekend, too. And also want to add my congratulations to the boys' high school varsity soccer team for winning the championship this past weekend. We're now moving into winter sports season. We have wrestling and basketball kicking off very shortly here. If residents are still interested in joining, we can reach out to those programs. They always take additional kids. And also, baseball will be opening their registration up in December, and they're hard at work at a facility project, which they're very excited about for the residents to see at opening day next year. Some holiday festivities in town coming up. We have the tree lighting on December 6th on Friday. It'll be 7 p.m. at Borough Park. There'll be crafts for kids, DJ, a trackless train, hot chocolate and donuts, giveaways, Santa photos, and maybe even the Grinch will make an appearance again. We'll see. And we have the Mayor's 4th annual house decorating contest. Deadline to enter is 2 p.m. on December 13th, with judging on the evening of December 17th. We have the annual menorah lighting on December 22nd on Sunday at 4 p.m. in front of the Waldwick Library. There'll be prayer, songs, and sweet treats. And also, as the mayor said, American Legion is looking for donations for Toys for Tots. They'll take new unwrapped toys through December 13th for those in need. It's always good to spread the holiday cheer for those less fortunate than us. In health, I'd just like to remind people that we do have the Child Health Clinic on the third Wednesdays of each month. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Mr. Raimondo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two items with regards to some work. The DPW took some corrective action for a safety issue at the ambulance squad. One of the railings on the second floor was missing some screws, and they basically fixed it. Another item that I'd like to bring to the public is we did receive a nice letter from Mr. Patton stating his appreciation for such a professional election process during the election this month. And I'd like to thank Tatiana and Kelly, as well as the DPW staff that assisted them with setting up and taking down all the equipment. It's nice to hear from a resident of a level of professionalism that happens within our town, and it makes us look good. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Building and Grounds Committee, Mrs. Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have, no report.
Oh, thank you. Borough Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A lot of residents may have received a letter about an unknown lead service line, so just I wanted to provide a little feedback on that. Number one is, why did you get the letter? So the NJDEP and the US EPA require an inventory of all service line materials for all water systems, which we have been working to identify and update for the past 2 or 3 years. So if you received that letter, basically that was a notice that your service line to your house is unknown material at this point. DPW is working through the entire inventory throughout town, so we have about 3,800 services to check. They've done about 1,200 already, so they have a lot more to go. So it is a long process. They physically have to dig a hole down and check the pipe going into your house. So if you receive that letter and you have some questions, feel free. You could reach out to my office at any point. I'd be happy to talk about it more with you. We are drafting a letter to get out and post on our website also. We're creating a dedicated page to this so you could kind of track that process. But again, if you have any questions about that, please give me a call back. Also, just want to touch on the water discoloration issue that we continue to encounter and deal with, specifically in the area of Waldock Ave, Bergen Ave, and Lincoln. We are working with our engineers, working with the DEP to come up with a solution. It's not an easy fix, unfortunately, and it's not quick or cheap, so we are working on the best options right now to narrow down and come up with a long-term solution for that. Again, if you have any questions or complaints, please report them to my office, 201-652-5300, extension 227. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. With regards to elections, at the last meeting, I was remiss in thanking the DPW worker assigned to us on Election Day. We could not have been successful that day without the help of Steve Weber. Whatever we asked him to do, he did with a smile. So thank you, Steve. We are thrilled to have Melissa on board and settling in this week. Tatiana and I have both been training her in different aspects of the office, and it's been a pleasure to work with her thus far because she comes to us from another municipality where she's done a lot of these tasks. So it seems to be pretty easy to train her. She already kind of knows what to do. Just a reminder for residents to sign up for Constant Contact, which is our new platform for the weekly community news and updates, as well as our monthly newsletter. Nixle will continue to be used for the PD for their emergency notifications. We have seen an uptick in people signing up for Constant Contact, but since it's the only way they're going to get that information, we're just kind of want to keep getting that out. We have our food bin up front. This is our second full bin so far this season, so they're coming to pick that up, Families for Families. The residents have been very generous. We have gift cards as well for them to buy what they need. So, and I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
Is that it? Thank you. Our attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. As I said the last meeting, we got our initial COA numbers from the state of 178. We just got this afternoon all the data behind how they calculated those numbers. So Steve, the borough planner, and I are going to go through and come up with some recommendations for you as to how we can approach this number and what we can hopefully try and figure out a more reasonable number to submit to the state. That's all on that front, and I did have a couple phone calls with some preliminary attorneys about some of the redevelopment areas in town. So hopefully in the near future you might have some more redevelopment proposals coming for the areas addressing some of those other lots down there besides the one that's before the planning board now. And that's all. I just want to wish everybody as well a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Consent resolutions and resolutions of the governing body.
Be it resolved that the following resolutions herewith listed by consent, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Waldwick, are hereby passed and approved. 2024-290, approval of consent. 2024-291, approval of minutes, regular meetings, October 22nd and November 12, 2024. Policy vote A, appointment of Nosir Bailey to junior member of the Waldwick Volunteer Fire Department. 2024-292, authorize execution of a grant accessible ramps. 2024-293, release of road opening escrow for Block 130, Lot 4. 2024-294, rescind Resolution 2024-282 for a stipend for keyboard and clerk 1. 2024-295, amend Resolution 2024-275, appointment of police sergeant for Christopher Sanchez. 2024-296, approval of the council reorganization meeting for January 7, 2025. 2024-297, approval of the 2025 floating holiday. 2024-298, accept donations for the annual Christmas tree lighting. 2024-299, tax overpayments various. 2024-300, approval of budget and appropriation transfers. And 2024-301, payment of vouchers.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept? Motion by Mike, second by Michelle. Anyone have a question? Just got a couple of them. First of all, the one about 2024-298, donations for the Christmas tree lighting. What we have to do is whenever anybody does a donation to the Borough of Waldwick, we have to do this so that we are covered and they're covered in what they're giving to us. Also, in regards to Police Sergeant Christopher Sanchez, that was just bookkeeping. We made a little error on his salary, but everything is up to date on that. And 2024-2095 with Denise Broderick. Fortunately, there was a miscommunication on what things were supposed to be done, and Denise, was very kind and kind with us to talk to us about this. So what we did, we just thanked her for, coming forward and being honest with us, and we're just taking care of it a different way. That's it. Anyone else? Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Brennick?
Yes.
Ms. Saracola?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes.
Mr. Ramundo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay, any unfinished business here? New business. New business in the future, when I ask someone to do a report or something, I'd like to be called Mr. Mayor. Any other new business? Public comments. Anybody from the from the public would like to comment? Please come up here and state your name for the record.
Hi, Gina Zubia. Steve, I know you've touched on this, and with the water we've discussed, but I want to share some personal examples of what's going on in my house. I've been dealing with water discoloration and a strong metal smell for the past 6 months. First, it started off every so often, and now it's a daily disturbance. The bath water is always discolored. Some nights I can't even bathe my young children because it's so brown. I buy 15 to 20 gallons of water a week for us to drink and cook with. I've given my kids a sponge bath with Poland Spring water multiple times. My hair's not washing, our skin is affected, and I fear for our health concerns. My toilets and bathtubs are stained, and when I clean it, brown sediment comes off. It constantly smells like metal. How would you feel if this were you and your family? My water bill's the highest it's ever been because all I've been told is to run my water. It never runs clear. The water superintendent, Mike, was sent to my house and confirmed that it did not run clear. It's been 6 months living with this water issue. It's absolutely outrageous and unacceptable. When exactly will this be resolved? I live at 11 Lockwood Drive. 11 Lockwood Drive. I know you did not include that street in your findings before, but there are multiple people on my street affected. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm John Vervoort. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished council members. I'm here before you tonight in my capacity as the commander of the Waldwick Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 1049, and as a proud United States Navy veteran. There's currently 2 bills under consideration by the New Jersey legislature. Resolution number 58 before the Assembly, and Bill SCR 81 in front of the Senate. These bills propose a constitutional amendment to increase the amount of the veterans' property tax deduction from $250 to $2,500 over a 4-year period. Specifically, if approved by the voters of the state, this proposed amendment, constitutional amendment, would increase the amount of the veterans' property tax deduction from the current $250 to $2,500. This increase would occur over a 4-year period. Veterans who were honorably discharged from active service in a branch of the United States Armed Forces qualify for the deduction. Further, a qualified veteran's surviving spouse would receive the deduction after the qualified veteran dies. This amendment would increase the amount of the deduction to $1,000 for tax year 2025, $1,500 for tax year 2026, $2,000 for tax year 2027, and $2,500 subsequently, starting in 2028. The voters of the state last approved an increase in the amount of the deduction in 1999 from $50 to $250 over a 4-year period. The amount of this deduction has been $250 since 2003. This amount would be reimbursed by the state to the municipality in the amount of 102%, as it does currently. So that amounts to, when it's $2,500, that means the borough is going to receive $50 for every veteran in our town. That's a win-win for both the veterans of our community as well as Waldwick, the borough of Waldwick as a whole. I respectfully request your consideration of these bills, and if you all, as a body, can agree, I'd like the council to prepare a resolution showing your collective support of this initiative. I also plan to initiate a local campaign via email and phone to our District 39 members of the legislature, Senator Holly Shapizi, who's a co-sponsor of the bill, Assemblyman Robert Auth, and Assemblyman John Azzaretti, seeking their support in getting this bill across the line to support our state's veterans. The veterans of Waldwick would most certainly appreciate your support, and I pledge to make myself available to all of you to answer or research any questions you may have relating to this matter. Thank you all for your time, and I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday with your family.
Do you have a copy of what you just wrote?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you leave it for me, or just, because when we have our Northwest Bergen Mayors Association, I could ask all the mayors if they're not doing this, or if they're going to do it, and do it.
Thank you.
Could we write? Yep. Our attorney will take care of all this for us. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, my name is Mike Goodell. I live on Waldwick Ave, and I'm talking about the water once again. I just kind of want to know, because we've been in a little bit of the dark about the progress that has happened in the last 3 weeks. I have gotten a whole house filter that was supposed to filter out sediment, which is the iron smell, the rust that I talked here on the 24th of September about. I haven't paid a water bill, and we have this whole house filter that my neighbor and I have both been installed through the town. He gave me 10 filters saying this is good for a few years, is what his thing was. It lasts 15 days. So every 15 days, I go in my basement, I have to take this filter out, and the comparison is complete iron buildup from a 5 sediment filter. And it doesn't work after about 14, 15 days. My water pressure is lower. It's completely full, which should last 7 to 8 or 9 months, is what he said. And I have to drain my hot water heater 15 days because that hot water heater is full of the discolored water. That takes me an hour with the supplies that I've bought for myself. And I just don't know what process has been taken in the last 3 weeks. And I know the holidays are coming up, and I've heard rumors from the engineers and the plumbers, but I just want to know what has been happening in the last 3 weeks to a month.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so basically, the last time we met with our engineers, probably about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, they actually wanted us to stay entirely off the system and not do any work to see how things reacted. They thought all the flushing we've been doing, all the work we've been trying to do, valve repairs, things like that, actually were contributing to the discoloration instead of solving it, so that taking the, reverse action and staying off it, see if that helped. It did not, obviously. So it has been the 3 weeks. So we're actually planning some water work after the holiday. So next week, we're going to start to work on the system again and plan out some different options for Waldwick Ave specifically. So we are going to be taking sections of pipes out to evaluate them, send them out, do some further testing. And again, trying to get towards that long-term solution. Everything, and we totally understand both situations is, we're trying to do what we can short-term, but unfortunately, we're at the long-term phase now. So we're just trying to work through that and make sure we come up with the best option, that we don't have to do this again and go through it. So we want to tackle it as a whole, get it done right, and so we can move on.
So you're going to take a section of the main water?
The main, correct.
And you're going to, what does that show us, or what does that tell us, or? the
Well,
purpose
we'll
of
see
that?
when we cut it out, see kind of if there's scaling, things like that going on inside the pipe. And allow us to actually identify the exact age of it too, which will be helpful. We understand that it's pretty old in that section of town, so we just want to make sure and identify everything we can.
Okay. Yeah, so I did take out the first filter, knowing that it was being flushed, and that the second filter lasted just about 16 days.
Okay.
So the filter doesn't really work. Maybe for like 3-4 days, it's clear, it doesn't smell as bad. I think today it smells worse than it did in the summer, to be
Okay.
honest. So it has been, I would say, getting worse, just so
Okay.
everyone knows. And the filters are supposed to last like months at a time. But just so everyone kind of says if it works.
And just so the piece of pipe that Steve's talking about taking out is it's to see what the continuity of the pipe looks like. That's how, instead of x-raying it, or they actually will cut a section out and see what it looks like inside. And that's how they can determine what will be the action going forward, if there needs to be some sort of replacement or whatnot on the roadway. So it's not, I just don't want it to get mixed up that they're doing that to make sure that there's not a health issue with the pipe, because that's not what that's meant for. There's the iron sediment inside, that's what they're saying, how much is in there. And that's the best way to do it, is to physically cut a piece of the pipe out so they can look into it.
Okay.
So then, and that's
Has
what the
there
engineers
been
look at.
like a-
They look at the thickness of the wall of the pipe, what's remaining, determine whether or not, what areas if it has to be replaced, or.
Has there been a task force or a group of workers that kind of just take a bucket and see how far north or south or like it goes? Because I honestly talked to some neighbors and they're like, oh, no, it's totally fine. I
Yeah.
talked to some neighbors, now I kind of want to take a Sunday and do that myself with like a clean bucket with 2 other buckets and a wagon and just run their hose for 5 minutes, look inside this one, check it, because it's getting to the point where like some people, I don't know if they're, I
Maybe they don't
get
pay
how
attention as
one
much.
house can be as much, or, like I have a brand new house, we just
Yeah.
renovated it, same thing, our tub is completely destroyed,
It's
our
not the only
toilets,
one.
our
Yeah,
thing.
It's kind of the,
So
that's kind of the dilemma.
Steve actually in the back was the only person from the town that actually did that. Totally out of the blue, came to my house to flush my house. Steve took a bucket and went to my 4 neighbors and said, they're all the same. Why aren't they complaining? Why isn't this? No one from the water department has. So I thank Steve in the back. We kind of yelled back and forth a little bit, but we got a solution, and he's like, all these houses are like this. he took a 5-gallon bucket, the one I cleaned right in front of him, and he looked. I feel like that could be a simple little solution, just to kind of get a little roadmap, have 3 guys just go back and forth, 4 hours, I don't know.
So that is being discussed now. I forget the name of it, and it'll come to me afterward. But there's basically something that helps check the color and the iron levels in the water. I forget the name of the tool, but we're looking into purchasing that, and the engineers have been developing kind of a game plan like that. So what we've been doing with them too, just not to go too far into detail, but like a little background is we've been developing a whole map of the town. So that's why we ask people to call and report. So we're documenting that, we're putting it on the map so we can actually start to plot these different concerns and track it a little bit better. So that's what we're doing with engineers right now. And then off that, we are going to do something similar to what we had talked about with the 5-gallon pails, kind of targeted in one area, but then taking samples from all over town just as a comparison. So we are working on that too.
Okay. All right, I look forward to hearing it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Craig, you want this?
Al Colby. First thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to keep you folks here for 45 minutes listening to me now. Would that be all right?
Yeah, we got sandwiches coming in. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
you
it.
got time? No, the real reason I come up, I want to wish us all a very nice Thanksgiving
You as well.
and a safe one. And the Public Works did another great job yesterday for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you and your family, happy Thanksgiving. Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? By Katie, second by Mark. All those in favor? All those opposed? Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Okay.